Bada boom, bada bang, bada bop. Now, if you are evaluating any of these shoes right here or any of the other shoes that I'll go through in this video today, make sure you're on the Supwell app, because the Supwell app is the best place to buy, sell, and trade gently used running shoes like this. We have the Hoka Cielo X1 2.0, the Saucony Endorphin Elite 2, and the Adidas Adios Hot Mess here. Make sure you're on the Supwell app, man. People are letting go of their race shoes with 10 miles, 15 miles on them that don't work for them at huge discounts. And we have a discount code to Running Warehouse. So if you're looking at a shoe like this, the Cielo X1 OG that came out last year, that's going to be on sale for maybe $200. You could use our 10% off and get that for even cheaper. So Supwell app is the best place to be if you're into the culture of running and running shoes. It's actually how I got my Nike Pegasus Premium, so make sure you're on there. Link is in the description below. All right, enjoy today's video. Oh, they're new lights. Are you helping me? You're packing, or you want me to pack? I'll pack. You pick, I pack. You pick, I pack. Reevesy has been fired. I don't even know what he's doing. What's that? Oh no, we don't need. We only have a few more. We're good. Okay. Bang. All right, miss. Can you grab a box?
I'll grab it. Oh, that's good.
Another day, another hobby jogger hat shipment. Reevesy was fired and Mace was promoted. She's now head of fulfillment.
I just want to put this on.
Alright, can you put it in there? Thank you. Okay, you guys get in your seats?
Oh, Daddy, look at them, buddy.
Alright, Reevesy, can you get in your seat? We're gonna go drive to the post office. Alright, this is our shipment for today. About 40 something hats. I'm gonna open up the pre-order again. One rambunctious 3-year-old. We're gonna bring the box back, okay? I'm not gonna leave it at the post office. And then 2 shoes. Caleb Beck. One's going to Caleb Beck. One's going to my guy Tony Brinkman. I gotta send out some more free shoes too. One was a trade. Alright, dude, let's do this thing. Another beautiful gray day, huh? Yeah. Great day for some mileage. What do you think? Shout out to the Mint Hill post office putting in work on a Saturday. Good job. Numbers. It's 24 hours. I didn't realize that.
I can get another one. I know it. Let's pack it. Heavy!
It's heavy?
Yeah. That pen is so cool. Daddy,
Alright, you want to see something cool?
I put this box right.
Tyrese, you want to see something cool?
Yeah.
You want to, pick that up?
Daddy, I put my box.
Come here. Tyrese, it goes in here. Want me to pick you up?
Yeah. Is that box gonna be done?
Mace, you want to pull the handle down?
Yes.
Oh, you can, yeah, good too. Alright, push. Nice job. Alright, you want to do another one?
It's gone. The back.
Yeah, it goes down in
The
there.
box is gone. No.
Alright, Mace, can you pull it down
I can
again?
see where it
Can you
goes.
pull it down again? Yep, go again. Hold on. I think this one. Yeah, alright, push. Alright, now all of these need to go. Yep. Alright, go. Yeah.
No.
Alright, go.
No one.
Should I dump it? Should I dump it?
Yeah, dump it. Snap it. I got it. This
Alright,
one.
go.
I like this one. I like this one.
You want to dump it?
I
Or you
want to dump
want to
it.
throw it in?
I want to spit. One. Two. Three. Four. Napkin. And more pudding.
Alright, there you go. Alright, ready?
Why? I want to go down.
Down.
Down, like this here. And what are those? How will they get the? Daddy, how will they get them to the people? People.
The post office will come, they'll collect them, they'll scan them in, they'll know where they need to go because the labels we put on the bags and we'll send them out. It's cool, right? Alright, let's go.
Daddy, can we come here again? Oh, Daddy, I hear the people.
Yeah, they're coming. Thank you.
Yell it again. Thank you. Thank you.
Alright, come on.
Thank you.
They heard us, guys. Come on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, those are my kids. Oh, yeah. He said you could come look.
Look at what?
You can come see the back.
I want to see it. I want to see it. I want to come see it.
Yeah. Turns out the people who work at the post office are not aliens.
Daddy,
He just let us see in the back. That's awesome.
people that work at the post office are so nice.
Yeah, they're so nice. That was
Dad,
awesome.
Can we come here again?
Definitely. You're cold? We're getting in the car.
Cold. I'm burning hot. I feel like it's summertime. Mom.
What happened?
I never went to the ocean and tried to bring sand, and it's like that.
let's get out of here. What's that? Hey. Sup. Say sup. 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 Alright, Miss Ronington is still sleeping. Nice recovery with the stroller. Lock that so she doesn't roll down the hill. Let her sleep. Testing out the new drip. This is the limited edition Carbon Series oversized mileage tee. Straight flames. Go off, Barrett. Look at that.
Thanks for financing and helping delicious food.
Hey, Mommy, should I put this away?
No, it needs to go in there.
I mean,
You can put it in the dishwasher if you like.
Supwell Kitchen doing numbers.
hey, Mommy,
Avocado toast.
Mommy.
Ooh, tofu scramble. It's the Max Cushion Gang tofu scramble. And Roni's awake. Got the coffee going here. We have, you already know what it is, New School blend from Black and White. This is a year-round banger. I got to keep this one on deck now. This is my second time ordering it. It just doesn't miss. So good. And then it's still raining. So I'm going to keep it cozy vibes inside today and do a reshoe market analysis. Something we haven't done in a while. Breaking down all the racers, comparing them. Should be fun. Supwall running shirt that I've been testing. I don't think we're actually going to do this in this drop, but at some point. Max Cushion Gang hoodie. I have all the merch out right here. Oh, by the way, I have 13, well now 10, because I got a few orders of the Hobby Jogger running hats left from this last batch. So if you want one before, I don't know when the next time we're going to do it, probably March. If you want one before then, go pick it up now. This week, I tested the Hoka Cielo X1 2.0, and I also tested one of the newer race shoe releases, Brooks Hyperion Elite 4 PB. That was yesterday. And then last week, I tested the Diadora Gara 2, and it was the juxtaposition between this shoe right here, the Diadora Gara 2, and other shoes I'd been running in, like the Asics Metaspeed Sky Paris, that got me thinking about doing this race shoe market analysis and breaking down, well, looking at the entirety of the market right now, which is, this isn't everything, but it's a lot of it. We have, 10 to 12 shoes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 shoes right here. There's a few I didn't pull over, but looking at the scope of what's available on the market and categorizing them based on whether they are fast and aggressive shoes or more of long distance comfort shoes. And even within the marathon segment, you have shoes that can swing either way. And this is actually one of the last ones. I didn't put this on the table here. So 15, this is the Adidas Adios Pro 4, not one of my favorites, but I came up with this framework last week in the Gara 2 review. If you have the cruisers, the shoes you want to cruise, those would be the more relaxed, comfort oriented race shoes. And then you have the bruisers. So what makes a shoe a cruiser? Let's start there. And let's start with the Gara 2, since this is one of the most recent shoes that I've tested in this cruiser segment. So a cruiser, like the Gara here, more comfortable foam, doesn't necessarily need to be softer, but soft enough so that if you're running relaxed miles, if you're 9-minute, 10-minute, 11-minute paces even, you can use these types of shoes. They're also going to be better for landing on the back here. So you'll see that nearly all of these cruisers, like the Gara, like the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4, that's on this side. And by the way, I put all the cruisers in the back, the bruisers in the front. They will all have some sort of a chunkier heel, typically a softer foam, and they'll have a plate that is not the most aggressive. But like the Gara here, nice rockers. So all these cruising type shoes, they have beautiful rockers to push us along. Now the Gara is one of the best shoes out there for marathon cruising. It's beautifully comfortable. They actually changed the fit on the upper of this generation so that it's a touch snugger, but it still isn't tight and aggressive. That's the thing with the bruisers too. A lot of these shoes have more aggressive race fits, like the Asics Metaspeed Sky Paris. Typically these shoes, the more cruising marathon shoes, will also be heavier because they have more padding on the upper. So let me go grab the scale. We can weigh this one in real quick. So if you take a look at the Diadora Gara 2, this is a size 10.5. This thing comes in at 208 and 33.5 grams. If we compare that to my favorite bruiser right now, my favorite fast and aggressive marathon race shoe, the Asics Metaspeed Sky Paris, this guy comes in at 100, can you even see that? 190.5 grams, which is just wild, right? That's a 20% weight difference. But comparing these two, let's see the key differences. Again, one of the most comfortable shoes, one of the most comfort-oriented marathon shoes in the Gara versus one of the more aggressive in the Sky Paris. So upper, the Gara has more padding. The back, Gara has a wider base. Also with the foam, they're both Pibas, but the Gara Piba is softer, more comfort-oriented. You're going to get a better heel landing zone back here. It's also a more substantial heel for heel striking versus the Sky Paris is very narrow. And then the plate position up in the Sky Paris, this is one of the more aggressive carbon fiber plates on the market. It's right up there close to the foot versus the Gara. The plate is more to the middle of the shoe. And you can see right here, the plate is actually scooping down and it's pretty low to the ground. So the lower that a plate is, the lower that the plate position is on the shoe, the softer it will feel, even if it's a firm foam, because you get less of that plate feel, more of the foam feel. That's why if you compare the Asics Metaspeed Edge Paris, and I would still put this into the bruiser market segment, it's still an aggressive shoe. It still is extremely lightweight. It still does have a narrow heel. It has more cruising capability than the Sky Paris, but it's not as aggressive. Look at where the plate is positioned here. It scoops all the way down, and it's basically 10 millimeters of foam below the plate. So that gives the shoe less of an aggressive bite at the toe off, but it still is a really fast shoe. So some of the dynamics to think about are heel width, upper padding and comfort, softness of the foam, upper fit, plate position, and then rocker geometry. That was 5 or 6 different variables there, and all those work together to determine whether one of these shoes is a cruiser or bruiser. So let's go down the line here. I'll save the Adios Pro 4, but we did Edge and Sky Paris. Next one that I ran in this yesterday. This is the Hyperion Elite 4. This is on the more aggressive end of the spectrum, but what was really interesting to me was that this has a softer heel. And if you look at me pushing this in the back, it compresses a lot. Now, it doesn't compress side to side as much as a shoe like the Adios Pro 4, though now that it's broken in with some miles, it is compressing more. But when I was out there putting down some serious power in the midfoot, I felt this foam just collapsing all the way in on itself. And so for these more aggressive shoes, what makes them successful to me is having a firmer feel at the front. And if you look at all these bruiser type shoes here, the Sky Paris and Edge Paris, the Puma Deviate Nitro 3, the Mizuno Wave Rebellion Pro 2, I should have the Saucony Endorphin Elite here as well, but the Alpha Fly 3 and the Hoka Rocket X2, they all have a slightly firmer toe off. They don't squish all the way down. And if you look at the back row with all the cruising shoes, On Cloud Boom Strike is back there, Hoka Cielo X1 2.0, and the OG, New Balance SC Elite V4. I did pull the Puma, the Adidas Prime X Strong 2, even though it's more of a training shoe. It has a lot of elements that make it a viable racer for 4-hour marathons, and the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4. All of these more comfort-oriented shoes have a softer feel to them. For the most part, the Adidas Prime X Strong does not. It's a firmer foam, but that's why I'm putting it in the cruiser category, because it provides some of the same elements that I love for putting down power in the faster shoes, but that make it work well for longer time on feet. Adidas Prime X Strong 2. So these more aggressive shoes in the front, typically firmer foam, more aggressive toe off. They all have that really sharp, I should put the Gara back here with the softer shoes. They all have that really sharp rocker in the front. You take a look at the Puma. I really want to get some miles in this soon because this thing is just so fun and fast. It also has the grip on the bottom, which that's the chef's kiss on top of this perfectly seasoned German burger here. But yeah, talking about the Puma or the Brooks Hyperion Elite 4, what this one lacked compared to all the shoes that I liked here in the front, and let me go grab the Endorphin Elite as well, Endorphin Elite OG. Yeah, all these shoes right here in the front, super aggressive rocker and a more supportive foam. So watch me try to compress this Endorphin Elite foam. I'm getting some give here, but it's not compressing all the way like what happens with this Hyperion Elite 4, the new Piba. This is a very soft compound now that it's broken in. So for me personally, and guess what? Elites racing these things, they can do 209 marathons, 205 marathons in anything. There's a guy who ran a 218 in carbon plated sandals, right? So it doesn't make the biggest difference. It's what, a 2, 3, 4% difference max. But the benefit of being a hobby jogger is that we can choose. We can decide what we race in. And for me, when I'm pushing force, when I'm putting power down in the shoe, I want a slightly firmer midfoot. That's why yesterday this didn't work the best for me, and that's what all these shoes that I've laid out in the front and more of this bruiser segment, that's what they do. And so again, look at the Puma DV8 Nitro Elite 3 here. This combines a lot of the elements of both, and it does have more of the cruising capability. The plate scoops down, you get some good foam above the plate in the front, and man, pushing it in compared to that Brooks shoe, it's a lot firmer. It's a lot firmer, and it doesn't let me push it in as much, but I can feel some softness to it. And so you get the comfort and support of the race foam, but you don't get that super squishy feel. And that's what I do not like in a race shoe. And so if I'm going for a fast marathon or a fast half marathon, I want the shoe to feel substantial, and I want to feel confident. And so for 20-mile long runs and for training miles, it doesn't matter as much. But when I'm putting serious force down, that's where the benefit of these carbon plated shoes come into place. And that's where a shoe like the Puma DV8 Nitro Elite 3 is great. Now going down the line here, similarly, this is an awesome shoe. It's actually been slept on, and they released the latest generation. I didn't bring it out down here. This one, in my opinion, is even better. There's more control up in the front. It's a firmer foam, super aggressive rocker. It's like the Spider-Man Venom to the regular CLOX1, right? This is the Demon Time version of the CLOX1 OG. It puts you on your midfoot. You can't land in the back, but really aggressive rocker and very firm foam. Look at this squish test on this guy. Ow. It hurts my fingers pushing into this rubber here because I'm just basically pushing into hardness. There's no squish at all. So that made this shoe a really fast tool for training for me. I love this for 430 pace miles or not miles. I don't run 430 pace mile repeats, but 430 pace 200s, 400s, practicing running fast. This is a great hill repeat shoe. Anytime where you want to get up on that midfoot and forefoot and just let it fly, this is awesome. And you can get it for, I think, under $150 right now on Running Warehouse with the discount code, or maybe around somewhere between $150 and $170, I think, with the Supwell app discount code. So if you're more of a midfoot, powerful midfoot to forefoot runner, stability on this is going to be great because of that firmer foam, and the toe off experience is so nice. It reminds me a lot of next shoe here, 100% a bruiser. This is the biggest bruiser of all time. My favorite race shoe. One of my favorite race shoes. I don't know. It's hard to say. This is probably the most fun fast race shoe to me, the Nike Alpha Fly 3. Now, this actually is okay. The more miles I've gotten on it, the more okay it's felt for relaxed pace, but it just doesn't have the same support in the back as some of the best cruising shoes out there, like the Cielo X1 OG, the Gara 2, even the On Cloud Boom Strike, and it rewards a midfoot to forefoot landing. Now the Cielo X1 does as well, but because of how that foam is tuned and because of the weight and how substantial it feels and how wide it is, I put that in the cruiser category. For this, it always wants me to land up right at this target zone. It always wants me to bite the ground and get into that aggressive mindset. It's an aggressive shoe. The rocker is awesome. The geometry is awesome, and all the elements work together really well. The carbon fiber plate, the AirPod, that's the special sauce here. And you can see now 150 miles in, AirPod's not as poppy as it was when we first started, but still holding up well. And this is my favorite shoe. If I want to go out for a 20-mile long run with marathon pace, this is the one I'll pick. All right. last one up on here, Hoka Rocket X2. This is an interesting shoe because they just released the Cielo X1, or the Cielo X1 2.0, which came in lighter than this, which is just wild. Now, this is a very simple feeling shoe. There's nothing special about it. It's the same exact formula as the original Nike Vaporfly, the shoe that started this whole category. The PIBA race foam with the carbon fiber plate and the 40 millimeter stack height. So if you are looking for something that feels traditional but still fast, this is it. It's softer than the Edge in the Sky. It also feels more stable to me than the Edge in the Sky, and they didn't cut weight at all costs. So if you take a look at the weight on this guy, come on, it's loading. Okay, there we go. Yeah, if you take a look at the weight on this guy, 237.5 grams. So not the lightest weight shoe, but again, that's a benefit here. And I always talk about how weight has trade-offs. Heavier weight will typically mean more comfortable upper. That's not where the heavier weight is coming from in here. It's coming from two things: rubber coverage and then the density of this foam. So even though, drop the shoe. So even though this is an aggressive shoe and it has that aggressive forefoot rocker, because this foam is tuned to be slightly denser than a lot of the other options on the market, and that's coming through in the weight, it feels more supportive. I did a 20-mile long run in this, and it was great. I would actually consider racing a marathon in this shoe, and it feels very similar on the toe off, at least, to this guy, the Saucony Endorphin Elite. So these are two of the best shoes if you want that simple but fast feel. Endorphin Elite is a touch more aggressive and a touch worse for landing on the back, but they both have a very similar feeling, that aggressive rocker that puts you right up on your toes and rewards a powerful midfoot strike. And a lot of these cruising shoes or bruising shoes that want you to go fast, they're going to reward that midfoot to forefoot strike. So that's the cruiser market segment. Now, let's move on to, no, that's the bruiser market segment. Quick coffee interlude before we move on to the cruisers. That is super good, man. It's like a cherry liqueur. Cherry liqueur. Cheers. All right, so before we move on to the cruisers, actually, let me talk about the Adidas Adios Pro 4. So this is one of the shoes that I have struggled with. Recent release, I have not liked it at all. The issue for me comes with the softness of the foam and the heel feel. And I've heard other people echo this sentiment. If you are more of a heel striker, if you land more on the back of the platform, two things are going to happen. One, you get this suction cup effect. So when the bottom of the shoe hits the ground on the back, it feels that if you land in the exact wrong way, it feels that your foot gets suction to the ground and you can actually hear it popping. The second is because this foam compresses so much, you can feel the bottom of this foam hit the ground. You can feel the middle of this foam hit the ground. You can see how dirty it is in the middle here. That's bottoming out. It is literally bottoming out. What does bottom out means? It means it feels like the bottom falls out of the shoe. And if you compare this to other firmer shoes, look at this. This is the Puma DV8 Nitro Elite 3. That foam in the middle is almost untouched because the foam has enough inherent structure to it where the bottom isn't hitting the ground. This part in the middle isn't hitting the ground on every stride. Whereas in the Adios Pro 4, even though this is a way deeper cut here, that's about a 15 millimeter deep cut, all those 15 millimeters are collapsing. So it's possible that this shoe just doesn't work for my stride. I have heard a lot of people say they like it. For me, this feels like a hot mess. It really does. It feels like a hot mess. It feels like melted ice cream in the back. So not my favorite. I've heard people say it works across a bunch of different pace ranges, so this is maybe one that toes the line. You have that softness of the foam. The new version of Light Strike Pro is a way softer compound than the last one, and I would actually put the Adios Pro 3 into the cruiser segment. It was not an aggressive shoe. It was more of a comfortable, stable shoe that got better with time and miles. This one is on the other side where it does reward that faster midfoot, forefoot strike. For me, it always feels like I'm collapsing the foam. It feels like I'm getting a lot of rod feel, but other people have liked it. So it seems that it can do both. It seems that it can cruise for some people, and it can run those faster paces. I ran my fastest 10 miles ever in this out of the box. It was a 540 something pace, I think, or a 550 something pace. So it can go fast. It's just the feel to it isn't great. And that's a great transition into the cruiser segment, because these shoes aren't necessarily going to be the fastest. They aren't going to be the lightest. This is a Cielo X1 OG, and just feeling it in my hands after having all those bruisers in my hand, those fast aggressive shoes, it feels so much heavier. However, the benefit is comfort. The benefit is support. The benefit is we're not going to bottom out this foam. If we do our squish test in the Cielo X1 here, you can see this foam is going to hold up a lot better. We're not going to be compressing it all the way to the ground. So I like to think about performance and feel as two different things. Now, sometimes the shoes that feel great can also perform great and can be our fastest ones. Puma Deviate Nitro Elite 3 is a great example. This shoe doesn't feel weird. It doesn't feel too aggressive for me. I've recommended it to plenty of people running 3-hour 45 marathons, and you don't have to be a sub-3 marathoner. You don't have to be an elite athlete to work with the shoe, in the same way that some of these more aggressive shoes are really only going to feel good for certain pace ranges, or at least under an hour, under 2 hours. That's not the case for this. But a lot of the times, performance and feel are at odds. The shoes that feel the most comfortable, like the Brooks Glycerin Max, like the Puma Mag Max, like the Hoka Cielo X1 here, are not going to be the fastest. So all of these cruiser shoes here for me are more comfortable. They're not necessarily what I would pick for a fast marathon PR attempt, but that's not the goal for everybody. So these are going to be the shoes that are good if you want to go for a 4-hour marathon, or if you want to go for marathon completion, or if a 3:30 4-hour marathon, or maybe even longer 4-hour, 4.5-hour, 5-hour marathon, if that is your PR goal. Maybe you don't want the most aggressive shoe if you know you're going to be jogging parts of it, or if you know you're not going to be running with aggressive style for the entire time. So depending on what your marathon pace is and how comfortable you are running that pace, that marathon effort is going to feel a lot different. A 2-hour marathoner is running with way different form. They're running at a way higher fraction of their maximum speed than a 5-hour marathoner. I know athletes who play D1 soccer and are capable of running fast 100-meter sprints who ran their first marathon in 4.5 hours. So you can be a great athlete, you can be in great fitness, and still run a marathon time that's slower than what someone else might be, even if you are similar athletes. So that's why it's so important to pick the shoe for the type of race you are going to run. And these shoes are also better for training. These are more comfortable shoes for training. I prefer to do my long runs in these types of cruiser shoes. I would not really pick the Asics Metaspeed Sky Paris for a long run. All these shoes at the front, I'm only really picking them for a long run if I have marathon pace or threshold pace in it. The one exception is maybe the Puma Deviate Nitro Elite 3, which again, that toes the line between cruising and bruising capability. So first up here, Hoka Cielo X1. Man, this thing is a complete banger. Really wide, one of the widest race shoes out there. Great support and stability. It does still want you to land up in the midfoot, but the way that this geometry is shaped, once you get 20 to 30 minutes in it, you'll naturally adapt to the shoe, and the shoe will encourage you and help you to land in the spot that it wants to. So this is great for heel strikers. This is great for midfoot strikers. The 2.0 actually came out today, and let's pull that over here. And they made a lot of changes to this one. They lightened it up by 50 grams in my size. They also made it significantly narrower by 10 or so grams. They made the upper more of a performance race fitting upper. They kept some of the foam feel. So this is a confusing shoe to me still, and I want to get some more miles in it because I tried a 200 repeat workout, and it didn't feel as aggressive as any of these shoes up in the front, but the comfort was still there and that impact absorption was still there. And you can see as I'm doing the push test, it's not really compressing that much. So it's not a super soft shoe. It's not a soft shoe at all. It reminded me a lot of last generation Lightstrike Pro. So that's actually why I'm putting this still in that cruiser camp. But unlike any of these other cruisers we have back there, Cloud Boom Strike, SC Elite V4, Primex Strung 2, Saucony Endorphin Pro 4, and Gara 2, the stability on this is not good. So I gave a pair of these to Charlie for Valentine's Day, spoiler alert. And she did her first run in them, and she said, yeah, on my left side it felt awesome, but on my right side where I have a weakness, it felt very narrow. And she actually took off her shoes. She ran a 5K around the neighborhood, and she took off her shoes in the driveway immediately when she got back home because she did not want to wear them anymore because they were that weird feeling for walking, which is not the same as the Cielo X1. So I have a feeling once you get into rhythm with this, like the X1 OG, it's going to feel good, but it's not a shoe that you want on your foot for a long period of time for walking, and you're going to have to really learn how to work with this platform. And it suggests that even in the design language, you can see this blue swoop down. It wants you to land up on the midfoot. I felt that I had to put more effort into this shoe to land properly and to work with it versus in the X1 OG. It seemed more natural for me. I would naturally settle in to the style of running that this shoe wanted. All right, next up here, Cloud Boom Strike. This is another awesome one, similar to the Puma Deviate Nitro Elite 3. This can go fast and it can go slow. And my favorite shoes in this category are those versatile ones. So this is a shoe that it could be comfortable at a 9-minute pace. It could be comfortable at a 10-minute pace, but I've also taken it down to 5-minute paces and it sings. So the secret sauce here is you have a drop-in insole here of PIBA, supercritical PIBA, that is super bouncy. So you have the drop-in insole, the plate, and then a bottom layer of foam. And this bottom layer of foam is way firmer. So you get that soft squishiness on the top, and so it feels like a soft shoe, but then you get the planted capability and that stability in the back. So you're not going to be squishing around and you still are sure-footed. So this is one of the best shoes on the market, again, for 3.5-hour marathons, 4-hour marathons. It's not the widest. And if you compare it to the Cielo X1 OG, you're going to see it's significantly narrower. I do have the calipers, but I didn't bring them over here. It is narrower, but because of that inherent firmness of the foam, it's going to have more stability back there. Downsides of this one, and I actually had to switch out the laces, or the stock laces were terrible, and the upper's not that great, and it's distracting. So it's not going to be for everyone, but if you want a super comfortable shoe for marathon training, for long runs, this is it. This is one of the best shoes right now. If you just want to buy something for long runs and you have a $300 budget, this would be it. This probably is the best long run shoe on the market. It reminds me a lot of the OG Primex Strung. I was going to see the OG Primex Strung too. That makes no sense. It reminds me a lot of the OG Primex Strung, except of course it's lower because all these shoes here are the legal race shoes other than the Primex Strung 2. So this has to be below 40 millimeters in stack height. Now that brings me to, let's skip ahead to the Prime X Strung 2. This is a very substantial shoe. So the Prime X series from Adidas is their attempt at making the best possible race shoe, ignoring the legal restrictions around what stack height needs to be for road racing shoes, which technically is 40 millimeters or below 40 millimeters in the back. So with this one, they've gone up to 50 millimeters in the back. They've added the strung upper, and you can't use this if you're an elite, but this is really that cult classic option. I said in my deals video the other day, for bigger runners who want a supportive feeling shoe. So unlike the first version of this, which is super narrow and skinny and wobbly and unstable, they beefed up the heel. It's also a firmer version of Lightstrike Pro. I don't know if it's firmer than the OG, but it feels firmer than the new one for sure, and firmer than a lot of the other race foams. And that was the beauty of Lightstrike Pro in general. And it's a very heavy shoe. Let's throw this one on the scale. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's kind of hard to see the weight with the way I have the scale set up here, but just believe me. Yeah, this one weighs in at 316 grams. So if you remember all those race shoes we weighed in, 220 to 230 grams. However, trade-offs again. This has more support. This one, if we do our push test, that's not budging, dog. That is not budging. So if you're 250 pounds, 300 pounds, if you're going to be going for a 4-hour marathon and you want something that's super bouncy but still has that race day fun, Adidas made this for you. And for me, in that sub 240 marathon camp, this is a great long run tool for days where I'm feeling super beat up and I want something that's going to assist me to hold those faster paces, or just to hold long run paces in general and to keep the effort low. This is amazing. I did a long run in it a few weeks ago where I was doing some marathon pace, I think it was marathon pace 800s, and it felt pretty smooth getting down to 550 6 flat pace. So it can handle a wide variety of paces, even though it is heavier. Of course, it's not going to be the lightest shoe. It's not going to be the most streamlined, fastest option, but the protection is there. And this is a shoe where I can easily pop out and do a 25-mile long run in comfort if I wanted to. And unlike other shoes in the Super Max Stat category, the reason I'm pulling this one, not the Glycerin Max, not the Mag Max, not the Skyward X, it's because this has 100% of race foam and it has the carbon plates. And that's what you'd get in a race shoe. So there's no training foam in here. There's no plastic plate. It has the top tier technology. That's why Adidas has priced this at $300 MSRP. You can actually get it for $225 right now with the Supwell app discount code on Running Warehouse, and maybe even cheaper elsewhere. But MSRP more expensive than a race shoe because theoretically this has more technology than a race shoe. So that is Prime X Strung 2. Next one here. New Balance SC Elite V4, another cruiser. I haven't gotten miles in this in a while, but the secret sauce here is, again, like the Prime X Strung 2, very supportive shoe. You get a lot of foam up in the forefoot because this is a 4mm drop. And so what that means is all these shoes, they need to be below 40 millimeters in the back, but most of them have 6mm drop or 8mm drop, which puts the forefoot at 32. This guy is up at 35, 36 millimeters. A lot of foam up here. For me, that felt like way too much foam to really get the legs cranking and hit faster paces, so 530s and 540s, but felt like the perfect amount of comfort for longer cruises. And I actually had someone tell me that this is the best Super Blast killer. This is the low-key Super Blast killer, which I thought was super interesting. So another shoe that's not a personal favorite to me, but a lot of runners love it for the stability. You still have that carbon fiber plate. You have a nice wider base, and if you look at the squishiness of the foam here, you get some good squish. You get some impact absorption, but you're not going to be bottoming it out. So nice supportive shoe. This is one of the bigger runner favorites. It's comfortable. It's easy to run in. It is so easy to run in. It's not too aggressive, and you have that nice, long, gentle rocker, that boat-like rocker that my guy Curiosities always talks about. Is super gentle and it pushes you along. So this is a shoe that it could almost go up against the Prime X Strung 2 as a training shoe, and it does have a lot of rubber here for durability as well. This is one that I haven't gotten a lot of miles in. I should revisit it soon, but I know some people are really loving this one, so a cruiser for sure. And this came out about a year ago. I do think they're refreshing it this year. So that's the New Balance SC Elite V4. Last one here in the cruiser camp, one that I still like. Others have surpassed it as my favorite. At the beginning of the year and middle of the year last year, this was my favorite hobby jogger race shoe because it was so comfortable, and that's what the Power Run PB foam by Saucony does best. Yes, it's fast, no longer the fastest compound on the market, but more than anything, it's just comfortable, and it compresses a decent amount, but you get the snap from the carbon fiber plate. The downside to this one, and even though I'm putting it in the cruiser camp, and one of the reasons why others have surpassed it actually, is the stability and just the heel width can be weird. It can be awkward for some people to land on the back. Not everyone loves the way it feels, but man, the comfort of this Power Run PB foam is amazing. They actually do have a little bit of the Power Run HG foam on the top, which is the foam from the Saucony Endorphin Elite, but overall, not an aggressive shoe. And I actually dinged this when I first ran it because I said, man, this feels like a training shoe. It's also priced like a training shoe now, $225. A lot of the training shoes are getting up to that price point. You can see on Cloud Monster Hyper, that's $220. The Skyward X is $225. The what was the other one I just reviewed? The Pegasus Premium, of course, that's $210. So a lot of shoes are getting up there in price. This is a race shoe, 100% race foam with the carbon fiber plate, $225, and decent durability from this. So not the most aggressive, but if you don't mind the narrowness and you want that softer, more comfort-oriented feel, this is it, baby. And that upper is super comfortable as well. You got the nice sock fit, good padding in the back. Overall, a great cruising shoe. All right, that is all I have over here. I actually realized I didn't get the Endorphin Elite. Let me just grab that one real quick. All right, last shoe I'm going to talk about. There's more shoes over there, like Under Armour, Puma, the Fast Star, the Solomon shoe, the Tier. But I don't need to talk about everything today, just the highlights. So this is the Endorphin Elite 2. Another interesting one for me that blended cruising capability with faster bruising capability. This is one of probably the most fun shoe I've ever tried. It did not fit my foot properly. I had a 10.5 in it and I was just cramped. I have purple toes from it. And it also has, listen to this. It has a really hard plasticky toe cap here, which I don't really understand why. No other race shoe I've tried has that. But this foam is not only the most fun, but the softest. It compresses like crazy in here. It's insane. So I did feel that I was bottoming this out. I can feel the plate when I push in. So it's hard with this shoe because some people are going to love it. Some people are going to think it's distractingly soft. It can go really fast. It's just not my personal preference. So if I had this in my correct size, I would probably use it for fun miles, for fun long runs. It just doesn't feel that reliable to me. And the reason why I pulled all these shoes to the front here that I did is they all have a very reliable, this should be out of here, a lot of very reliable feel with that fast planted confidence in the front, that confident toe off. The Metaspeed shoes have it, the Puma has it, the Mizuno has it, the Alphafly has it, the Endorphin Elite OG has it, and the Rocket X2 has it. I'm unsure on the Brooks Hyperion Elite 4 PB. I need to get more testing on it. That's something that this did not have. When I was pushing through the front, I could feel that plate and I could feel this foam compressing a lot. So for me, this is probably going to slot in to be more of that cruising shoe. But I actually think when they drop this is a size 10.5. When they drop this, I'll get the 11. Everything else here is a 10.5. Fits me great. Well, these shoes, Metaspeed shoes, come in too small of a size, so I should have gotten half a size up. I also have the New Balance actually in an 11 because that was all they had when I got that. This thing is a 10.5. I needed a half size bigger. Stay tuned for more testing on it, but if you want the softest possible option, if you are just looking for something marshmallowy, for whatever reason, whether that's you just want to try something different or you really want soft comfort, that would be the Endorphin Elite 2. One of the softest shoes out there, also one of the most fun shoes out there. And if you're looking for that Prime X Strong 2 replacement, again, like the Cloud Boom Strike, this might be it. I personally would still choose the Cloud Boom Strike over this. It feels more normal to me. I have more confidence in it. The stability is better. It's overall a better shoe than the Endorphin Elite, but this is very fun. So if you have $300 to spend on a running shoe and you just want fun, this is a good choice right here. All right, that was something different today. Race shoe market analysis. It is still super wet out there. But yeah, sign up for the Supple app. Use my link if you're going to buy any of this, and to get your Hobby Jogger running hats. There's a few left on hobbyjogger.com. I'll see you tomorrow.